All right. University of Virginia, our captains for this game, again, the coaches vote on a weekly basis to determine who best deserves to be represented as captain for the game. And on offense, we chose Travis Homer and Hayden Mahoney. Defense, we chose Jaquan Johnson. Special teams, Jeff Thomas. So those are our captains for this ball game. Proud of them. Coach Mendenhall is a good friend of mine. He's an outstanding coach, outstanding person. Did a good job of leading that team. And we got a great challenge ahead of us. We're going to their house. It's going to be at night. Their fans will be riled up, I'm sure. They'll be well rested as they had an open date. And of course, we had an emotional ball game and had to turn around pretty quick and get ready for this. So hopefully that won't come into play by the end of it. But their offense is averaging 30 points a game, averaging over 400 yards a game. They're second in the ACC and 10th in the nation in third down conversions. They're 50%, which is outstanding. That's why their time of possession is way up there. Perkins, their quarterback, number 3, he's a transfer from Arizona Western Community College. He's completing almost 64% of his passes. He's accounted for 14 touchdowns, 11 in the air, 3 on the ground. He's also their second leading rusher. He averages 15 yards a carry. 15 carries a game. So he does run the ball a good bit. Their leader, senior leader running back, number 1, Ellis, has rushed for six touchdowns already. And he's averaging 95.6 yards per game rushing, which I think is 4th in the league. Very impressive. There's Zacchaeus, their receiver, number 4. He's caught 33 passes already for 500 yards, 6 touchdowns. He ranks second in the conference with 100 yards receiving per game. First player in Virginia history with more than 500 yards receiving through the first 5 games of a season. So he's hot. He's had career touchdowns of 50, 81, 82, and 86 yards, I believe. So very impressive there. And he's 4th in school history in receiving yards there with over 2,000. So he's been doing it a while. Junior receiver, number 8, Dubois, has caught 22 passes, a couple TDs, 247 yards. Their tight end, Evan Butts, has caught 8 balls for 60. He's number 46. Got a couple senior linemen starting for him on the right side, doing well. And they've been an explosive offense. 11 of their 20 touchdowns are of 20 yards or more, so they've been getting some big chunks, a little bit like we had done a year ago. And then just as a team, a note, they're 11th in the country with the fewest penalty yards per game, so that's impressive and not shocking with the type of discipline Coach Mendenhall is all about. Defense, Thornhill, number 21, has had 8 career interceptions, a safety for them. Their defense is allowing 20 points a game. It's 5th in the league. Very impressive there. They're 3rd in total defense in the league, yielding only 324 yards a game. And they're 2nd in the league and 10th in the nation in first downs allowed, only 18 first downs per game. Their junior tackle, Handback, number 58, leads the D-line with 11 tackles and a sack and a half. Their D-end, number 91, is from Gulliver Prep nearby, has 10 tackles and a sack. Peace, number 13, outside linebacker, but he also turns into a pass rusher. 25 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, a sack, 1.5 sacks. Snowden has 28 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and was named the ACC linebacker of the week after they beat Louisville. Junior cornerback Bryce Hall, number 34, has 23 tackles, has 9 passes defended. And then safety Joey Blunt, number 29, leads the team in tackles with 32. Kicking, special teams, their freshman kicker Pearson he's 2 for 2 in his kicks and in his field goal attempts, and has made every single PAT. And their punter, Lester Coleman, number 47, is averaging 43 yards per punt. He's had a long of 61 and had 5 inside the 20. Joe Reed, who's a wide receiver, also is a kickoff return man. He's averaging 20 per return. He's number 2. A year ago, he was first in the ACC with over 30 yards per. So, and then another receiver, Chuck Davis, number 19, is averaging 3 yards per punt return. But they did have Kelly, number 27, had a 42-yarder against Ohio. So we've struggled in that punt return area, defending the punt return, and they got some dangerous guys there. So a lot of things for us to be challenged by, and we're looking forward to it. We are in the grind of it. We're right in the middle of ACC play. No more out of conference games. Everything is conference. Only have 2 more home games. We'll have I think 4 out of the next 5 or something like that is away. So we're looking forward to the challenge of playing them at home, and we'll see how it goes. So with that, I'll open it up.
Mark, obviously the defensive lines you all struggled with are highly skilled with LSU and Florida State. That being said, how close do you think you are, in your mind, from being a championship caliber offensive line?
Yeah.
Still far away, and does injecting DJ Skate get you closer to that?
Yeah, we're getting better. I think we're getting closer. We're better. We're a lot farther along than we were a year ago, and especially 2 years ago, in my mind. We've been making progress for sure. I got to do a better job of realizing there's certain guys that probably no one in America can block, and do a better job of getting some help, on a guy like Burns. But, once we did that, we didn't have as much trouble. There's a couple of blitzes that we practiced them over and over, and they did exactly what they did on the film. And, the first time Nkosi looked like everybody sacked him at the same time. That was just a total breakdown there. But other than that, our assignments were good and our efforts good. I think we're blocking pretty good at the point in the run game most of the time. Our perimeter blocking is improving. And if you're going to get 200 yards a game rushing, you got to break some big runs. If you're going to get 5 yards a carry on average, you got to break a few runs. You don't always get 5 yards per carry. You get 2 and 3 and 8 and 4, and then you get 40. And all of a sudden you got that average, and it looks really good. But we haven't had as many big runs, but we've had a few, and a lot of it has to do with how we're blocking on the perimeter. We're still a work in progress there.
And on Scaife, Mark.
Yeah.
Does injecting him bring you closer?
Yeah, well, Scaife's a real talented kid. I mean, for him to come in and do what he's doing right now and playing and functioning pretty well, it's impressive for a true freshman lineman to do that. And he's got a great skill set as a pass protector. That's where it starts at tackle. And he's not bad when it comes to physical play. Now, he made a few plays where he looked like a freshman, but there's a lot of that going on. We're playing a bunch of young guys, and the touchdown pass that took the lead, we got a freshman quarterback and a freshman tight end, and they've been playing a lot of ball, so they look a little bit more like veterans, but they're still rookies.
Mark, I'd like to ask you about the importance of Jeff Thomas and his emergence, especially in light of losing Richards for the year.
Oh, yeah.
And what is his skill set that makes him the receiver that he's been?
Well, we're talking about Jeff Thomas, and first of all, wouldn't it be nice to have Jeff and him on at the same time? Sadly, that didn't happen this year. All those sweet dreams I had in the summer, didn't come to fruition. But Jeff is really, his skill set, obviously speed, but extreme quickness. But he's a very smart kid, very good route runner. Even that touchdown he caught. Some guys would just run a track to a certain spot, but he set the guy up and gave him a little inside move and got him to stutter just a minute and created some space for himself. And Nkosi obviously had to throw a good ball, but he gave us a little bit of grass to throw to and some separation, which made it easy. And then you've seen him leap and make these catches. The catch at LSU and that one he caught on the sideline was spectacular. He had 2 actually spectacular catches against LSU where he had to elevate and above 6'1" corners, and the ball that he caught down the middle just prior to Brevin's touchdown was so impressive, and it was an impressive throw too. Just a great throw. I don't even know if Nkosi saw Jeff as he was running his route, because there was a guy trailing him probably 3 inches taller or 4 or 5 inches taller, but he trusted where he was going, and he ran the proper angle, and Nkosi trusted he was going to be in the right spot and made a great throw. And I saw a still shot of that catch, and I think the ball actually was going through his hands. He caught the back end of the football. I don't know if you saw that. You ought to try to find a picture of that. But it's like, how in the world could he have caught the back end of the football I'm assuming he caught it in the middle and it started going through his hands and he snatched it at the end. But if he caught the back end of the ball, I mean, that's hard to do. But, and he's been a very willing blocker too, punt return, kick return. Just wish we had about 3 of them, to be honest with you.
Mark, after practice
I'll be right there.
today, obviously, with everything you said about the offensive line, some of the guys were out there pushing sleds.
Yeah.
DJ was out there with them.
Yeah.
How encouraging is it when you see them taking that accountability for themselves and their play?
Yeah.
The fact that DJ wanted to be there with 10 as well.
Yeah, well, the big thing today that wasn't good was just flinching, self-inflicted wounds of not being able to hang in there on the cadence. I mean, we have to vary our cadence. If we don't vary our cadence, then the defense gets off on the line of scrimmage is quicker than us. And so we're always working on changing that cadence, and every once in a while a guy will flinch. But when that happens, he takes a lap around the field and comes back and loses his chance to get better for a couple plays. But I know that was a little bit of an issue, but Coach Searles holds him accountable. Tyler Gauthier is a great leader. Mahoney got voted captain this week. He's a very good leader for these guys, and and then a guy like DJ Dallas, that's who he is. He loves this team and he wants to do whatever he can to help everybody be great. And he's the most positive motivator we have on the team.
Mark, can you talk a little bit about, you're midway through the season now, you talk about playing all these young guys, where you feel you are as an offense and your comfort level?
Yeah, I mean, we're still playing guys that are, don't have all the experiences of veteran players. Nikosi's going to have his first road game start in a night game and hostile environment. So, there's some firsts at the quarterback position, and we're, more and more getting our wide receiver core, getting them involved. I mean, D. Wiggins early on wasn't playing a lot, and now he's playing a bunch, I mean, I expect to see more of Pope now. I expect to see more of, some of these young guys just because we got to keep people fresh. And, like today, Jeff wasn't able to practice. We think he'll be there. We're pretty sure he will. But when you don't have this guy practice or this guy's got a little something right in the middle of practice, before you know it, you see your depth go down, and then you're playing all these young cats. They're still learning a lot. So we're living through some youth for sure, but they're talented, and that makes up for a lot. We had one right here. I'm sorry.
It's been a couple of days since the Bengals process the final news on. How is the team just in your last few days? See the team together. Tell me about the process here.
I don't know. I think things are moving so fast, and we're talking about Amon Richards and the team's reaction to it. The season's so busy with school and football and meetings and all that, and we've been kind of living without him in practice, a lot, and for over a month. So you just kind of know in football, sometimes guys get hurt, and they may not come back in that season, or they may not come back that week, they may not come back at all. And I'm sure when everybody heard the news, it was like, whoa, that's big news. But in a lot of ways, they're kind of conditioned to know that we got to keep going, can't slow down. We obviously have our feelings for our friend and our teammate, without a doubt, but we also know that in football, life's got to keep going on, and just thankful that Amon's with us and doing, he's going to do great things in life.
Coach.
Yes.
Coach, he said his adrenaline really didn't get going until he hit a big play. How much are you learning about to call early on? To call early.
Sure.
What are you learning about?
Yeah, I'm sure his adrenaline was flowing, but he probably didn't have a comfort level until you hit one. There's certain plays you can call, just like the first play of the game the week before this. We called for a ball that was going to be just a bomb, a takeoff down the middle, but the coverage was split safety, and he worked his progression perfectly and hit the Y down the middle, or what we call our Y receiver, and that was, I think it was Harley, and and then that's like, wow, that's a great way to start the game. But was it a super high percentage call or throw? Probably not. I think sometimes you can call a play that or you believe is a super high percentage play, and the ball gets batted down at the line of scrimmage or something. So, you try, you just don't know for sure. If the defense would tell me what they were going to be in, then I would know exactly what to call. But, a lot of our plays are designed to work against multiple coverages, and certain coverages would dictate where a ball ends up going, or at least where the progression begins. So it's hard to, you can just drop back and try to throw a screen, but the first time we threw a screen, we had a guy in his face and he couldn't get it to him. So you think that's about as easy as it gets. And that was incomplete. So you just got to start playing, and sometimes you run the ball, and if the end crashes and we pull the ball and he goes running for 8 to 10 or 20 yards or whatever, that gets him going. But if the end doesn't crash, you just hand the ball off and go to the next place. So you just never know sometimes what's going to happen.
Mark, I'd like to ask you, as a coach and as a quarterback, this question. I saw Nicosi have so many plays the other night where so much was on his shoulders, and he had to pull out a game.
Right.
Without help of his team, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But can you describe the confidence level that a quarterback gets from pulling out a game like that?
Right.
And also the confidence level that his teammates get in him to do it again.
I've always used the term, most quarterbacks somewhere along the way will have a defining moment in their career where it's like, okay, he's the guy, and he believes he is, and everybody believes he is. And I'm not sure that was like a galvanizing moment like that, but it was pretty spectacular. I mean, it was the largest comeback from, being down 20. That's the most ever in that series, and that's a pretty impressive thing to be a part of. And he had to, he threw 2 touchdowns on 4th down. The 2 passes we talked about back-to-back to Jeff and Brevin Jordan were spectacular. The first one was a very spectacular throw. The second one, obviously, Brevin had him, but how many times have we seen a guy miss an open receiver? He laid it in there perfect, and he looked the safety off. He did exactly what he was supposed to do, how he was supposed to do it. And he's certainly getting more and more comfortable. I know that. Somebody had one in the back, I thought. No? All right.
We just got the email about Cade.
Right.
Is there anything you can say about that at all?
Not just that we have certain things, we have certain standards around here, and if you don't do what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, there'll be consequences. But we love Cade, and people don't understand sometimes, but when you discipline your child, it means you love them. And if you break down the word and what it means in Greek or wherever it came from, it has to do with loving someone enough to hold them accountable to the things that they need to be held accountable to. So we're disciplining him. There's the punitive damage of games not being able to be a part of, and there'll be some early morning fun, but there'll also be counseling, and we'll hug him and love him, and once he handles his discipline like a man, then he'll be in good standing, and we'll move on.
Do you worry about, get concerned after this about maybe somebody leaving or getting upset, or?
Oh, well, you can't worry about that. I mean, you just can't get tired of doing things right, doing things in a way that you think is in the best interest of the program and the player. And if it works for somebody, great. If it doesn't, I can't control that, but I know everybody's treated fairly, and everybody knows what's up on the front end, and there's no shock value going on right now.
Mark, from a global standpoint about where you all stand at receiver now without him on,
Right.
Are you pleased with what you have? Obviously, the 4 freshmen, you have veterans, you have Jeff Thomas, you have Harley. Pleased with what you have, or does that need to be addressed more?
No, I'm very pleased with the skill set that we have, and our experience level is not as high as you'd like, but it's obviously young. There's redshirt Njoku, freshman, 4 other true freshmen. Probably over half of our scholarship guys are freshmen or redshirt freshmen. So it's going to take time, but they've got a good skill set, and they're working hard. And I think all freshmen got to get to a point where they understand that they have to earn the right to play. They have to earn the right, to get the thing that they want the most. And you have to prove it in your meetings. You got to prove it in practice. You got to prove it by being a responsible student, by doing the things you're supposed to do, and that's growing from boyhood to manhood, and that's what we're trying to help all these guys do. And when they become that, we'll be a much better team.
Mark, I know it's unfortunate what happened to Amon and
No doubt.
last year with Malik.
Yeah.
There's probably nothing you can do to control it, but is there anything you
Yeah.
guys do now after this happened twice in a year, you go back and look at it and say, maybe equipment, maybe,
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. It's just the sport, and it's what happens at times. And I think technology is better than it used to be too. And just knowing certain things that maybe people didn't know years ago before they could, get in there and look at things. I think that's part of it too. But if there's, obviously we have the most updated and technically sound helmets that you could buy, and we know that even how we tackle on defense, we rugby tackle, we keep our head out of the tackle when we teach it. There's times that you'll get some helmet-to-helmet stuff, but for the most part, we're trying to do everything we possibly can to keep it as safe as possible, and but those things happen sometimes.
Mark, you touched on this earlier a little bit. What do you do to help the coach with his first road set? You do anything different? Playing on the road, he's never taken a snap on the road.
Yeah, but it's just like if you watched Hoosiers way back, anybody watch Hoosiers? And you see these guys going to the state championship game, and they're used to this little wooden gym, and then they went into the state championship game in this gigantic arena. And it's like they're all looking around like, oh my goodness. But what did the coach do? He took out the tape measure, and he said it was 10 yards for a free throw. 10. It was 10, whatever it was, 10 feet. What is it? 15 feet. Yeah, 15 feet for a free throw. The length of the court, the width of the court. How high is the goal? 10 feet. I got that right. If the rim's not bent. So anyway, it's the same field. It's the same. You're going to do the same thing in the game that you're doing in practice over and over, and so you just got to learn to focus on you got to get your focus tight and not looking around at everything.
Do you worry because, for the whole team, with everybody coming off that emotional high, and now all of a sudden, it's different going to
Yeah.
the road maybe help?
I do think you have an easier chance to focus away than at home. If you got a whole boatload of family at the home game, or even as coaches, the amount of recruits we had, that's a lot of great players that were in our game, and we were managing that just moments before pregame warm-up, and we love it. We love the fact that we could do that. But on the away games, there's nothing to do but focus on the game, focus on your job, focus on my call sheet, focus on, the last-minute things that you want to do to prepare as a coach and a player. And there's a little bit to, being the team that everybody's trying to beat, everybody's against you, it's just us against them. That mentality does resonate with players, and so I think there's some value to it.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
So do I get to keep this?
Yes.
Who gave, was that you?